Hello and welcome to my next chess video. This time I show you the game between Torbica Marko, my good friend, and Kucharsky Michael. And yeah, although Marko lost this game, he had his chances there, and also in the end game he could have drawn it. And before he also had even some winning chances. But okay, Marko opened the game with e4. The third game, it's his third tournament game, and it's the third round of this advent tournament game. And he had the white pieces twice, and he opens also the first game with e4. We have c6, the Caro-Kann defense, d4, d5, e takes d5, c takes d5, and c4, the Panov attack. Knight here, and as you see, they play theory for quite a long time. Here, Queen a5 is not theory, but after bishop b2, yeah, Queen a5 is also theory. It's just, it transposes now into a nimzo-indian kind of position. Bishop d2 would have been more, would have been just another option Marko could have gone for, but bishop b2, and this is quite, how should I say, has quite the same strengths. This position is around equal. Black didn't gain anything from getting the bishops here, but bishop b2 is also fine. We have castles, and now bishop d3, c takes and takes, and the theory move here is b6. For example, after b6 we would have to move castles, bishop here, bishop goes back, and something like this, and the position should be around equal. But also the game continuation, castles is around equal, and now his opponent played b6, and e5 would have been another option after d5, pinning the pawn, and this also should be around equal. But okay, we have b6. This is, now it should be a little bit better for white. White has the option of playing the rook here to the e file, which is more precise than what Marko played. And after bishop b7, bishop d3, queen here, queen there, and something like this, Marko has a slightly better position. He has the bishop pair and options of going c5 and c4 and d5 to open up this bishop. He can double here on the e file, put some pressure here on this pawn right there, and also on the knight. So white's position is here to be preferred. But okay, he played the move queen e2, preventing any bishop a6. Bishop a6 would be the theory move in this position. We can also have a look at this. It's nothing too dramatic. It's, yeah, bishop a2 is the theory move here, or has been played. Stockfish gives the move bishop to b3, which is also theory. I just see here, and c4, and this position should also be playable for both sides, maybe slightly better for white. But we have the move queen e2, queen h5, and bishop to d3, preparing c4, bishop b7, c4, rook here, stopping any d5, because then you can just take the pawn with a discovered attack on the queen. Rook fe1, now knight a5, putting some pressure on a c4 pawn, but also threatening to take the knight on f3 with to destroy white's kingside and white's pawn structure. Here we have the move queen e3, allowing this, and now black is a little bit better. Knight e5 would have been more precise here, and after queen takes e2, rook takes e2, this position is around equal. But we have this, and now bishop takes, pawn takes, And yeah, also this shouldn't be a problem for white. We have to move rook ac8, rook c1, h6, f4, queen h4, and rook c2. Rook c2 also not the best. Queen g3 would have been better. To takes, the knight comes here, and this position should be around equal. Because after rook c2, white had the option of playing knight h5. Black played the move knight g4, but knight h5 going after this f4 pawn would have been better. But maybe Marko's idea was just to bring the bishop back to defend it and continue the game, going after the d5 pawn, b4, now b5, going after the c4 pawn, I mean, because you cannot take it, and because the rook on c2 would hang. But now c5, knight c2, now going after the d5 pawn, rook d1 and g6, and we see here in this position white is quite under a lot of pressure here, and that is why black stands better here. But yeah, white can hold. Knight g4. Now it's again white who is slightly better, but also nothing special. Queen g3 we have, stopping any queen takes h2. Now we have a queen takes f takes g3, which, yeah, now white's pawn structure is again intact. H takes g3 would have also been possible. Rook c2, and now the move d5. Better would have been the move f5, and after f5, black has some difficulties here. For example, knight f6. You cannot take because the rook is hanging on d8, on e8, so the knight retreats to defend the rook, and now c5, breaking on the queen side, knight d5, bishop back here, trying to find another diagonal, and the line continues like this, attacking the knight, trying to get rid of it and to ruin black's pawn structure on the queen side, and to create a passed pawn here, on a protected passed pawn here on the c file. Knight c6, f takes e6, pawn takes e6, and c takes here. Bishop retreats, going out of the firing line of the rook, and we see here black can hold this position, but with the two bishops slicing here on both sides of the board here in the center, they are just better than the knights. But yeah, to win this, I don't know. Knight a5, for example, bishop h3, going after e6, rook here, bishop there, threatening, bishop takes h6 to win the knight on f6. Now h5, prevent this, bishop here, threatening the knight, but now rook to d6, just leaving the knight go, because you cannot really defend the knight. If you play something like king here, then you lose to rook f1, and now there is no defense against bishop takes. For example, here bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes, and now you'd even lose the other pawn here with the bishop threatening mate, and this is just all over. And white is up 2 pawns. So yeah, therefore, and this was quite a long variation now, but I go back to the game continuation. This was the move rook c8 to d7 and d5 instead of f5, and now the move knight b7 trying to go to c5, bishop d4 trying to meet knight c5 with bishop takes c5, but better was the move bishop f5, going after the pinned pawn here, because if you take, then the rook is hanging. So for example, game might continue with h5, because the knight was also under attack, takes, and something like this. You have to take with the king and allow bishop takes g7, because if you take it with the rook, then there is this rook check here, the rook has to block, and bishop takes g7. So all the tactics are on white's side, and this would win the rook, because the king has to move and then the rook will hang, and this is a clearly winning position for white. The exchange and the pawn up, after all. But we have to move bishop d4, knight to c5, bishop takes c5, rook takes c5, and rook here. My idea, which I had, because on this in this position I joined the game, and I had the idea to take here and allow rook takes d3 to push e7 and go into this endgame here, but it's also better for black. Here you see a pawn up for black, and yeah. But Marko played a better move, bishop b1 here, and after king f8 took there, and now this is a nice move, because if you take the pawn, wait, what? Yeah, if you take the pawn, then rook takes, pawn takes, I can just show you this. If you take the pawn there, then this is bad, because of rook takes c5, pawn takes c5, and bishop takes. So this is a nice move from white. So we have to move rook c8, and now just leaving the pawn go. And this endgame should be around equal. And here I thought, please offer him a draw or you might lose this, Marko. But he didn't offer a draw, he played on, and in fact he lost this endgame. Here it's still drawish, although with prospects for black, because this 2-1 on the queen side means more than this 3-2 on the king side. But okay, we will see how this works out. Marko can hold this endgame, of course, but yeah, white can hold this, but Marko wasn't able to hold this, sadly but truly. We had to move rook d2, which I wasn't proud of. Rook d7 I thought was better, but also the engine agrees with me. The rook here is better, and trying to go for some defense that way. But okay. Also rook d2 is not bad. White can still hold this. We have to move rook c3, attacking the pawn on a3, and rook goes here, defended. King f7, king g2, and yeah. Here, until this point, white can hold. h5 would have been better here for black to kick the queen away from g4, but I'm a good chess player, but to understand this, why here h5 is better than rook c5, my chess understanding is simply not that good. But Stockfish gives h5 is better, probably to kick the king out of the center here, but okay, we have to move rook c5 and h5, and this variation Stockfish gives minus 1.34, so it should, I don't know, it should still be drawn. But okay, rook c5 is another option, and now rook b2, trying to go for the b4 pawn, letting the a5 pawn go for the b4 pawn. Of course, black declines this, goes behind the pawn, rook, king f3, and now king there, h5, h3, b3, g4, h4, another deciding mistake in the game. Feel free to pause the video and find out which move draws for white, or there are probably many moves which are drawing for white. In fact, there are 5. Let's see how many moves there are which are drawing for white. Yeah, there are 5 moves which are drawing for white, maybe 6. Yeah, maybe 6 moves which are drawing for white. Marko played the 7th best engine move, which is unfortunately for him not drawing. He played the move g5, and this is now lost for white. What he should have done is either to play king d3, king e3, f5, or rook b1, or maybe even king f3 or king d4. So there are probably 6 moves which are drawing here, but he unfortunately didn't find one of them. Played the move g4, g5. This I didn't saw. I was playing chess against someone else. Here I wouldn't have played the move g4, g5, I'm honest, because why playing the move g5? I just don't understand this. It's just a check. But okay, his opponent played the move king e6, and this unfortunately isn't winning anymore. King g6 would have won the game, because the difference between king e6 and king g6 is that after f5, if the king is here, then this pawn would hang, but the king isn't there, and this has to go back, and this is again drawing. The king g6, f5, I just show you, you just take a pawn, and this is lost for white. After king to g6, king d3 for example, king f5 now, and we are in the game continuation actually, and this is now lost for white. But yeah, this was Marko's last chance. But okay, let's go back to this h4 move and to this g5 move. Instead of g5, for example, king d4 would have drawn the game with something like this. And now this is a double attack, a4 and this one, and black decides to give up the h4 pawn, and yeah, this is just simply drawn. But okay, king e6, king d3 now, and king f5, and now it's lost because this pawn endgame is just lost for white. Yeah, I just show you 9 stockfish gives made in 20. For example, I try to hold this with white. Now I put away the engine, and I try to hold this with white, and I'll play this with black actually, and try to win this against stockfish. This is now whose move is? Yeah, it's black's move. So it's my move, and I play against the engine. So stockfish 10, and it's black's move. Okay, I'm going here. Don't take this pawn. It's easily winning. You just take this pawn, go king g2, but okay, I just show you the best defense. Here, take this pawn. I think we can stop here. But okay, yeah, Let's see if this is winning, because if I have an engine, why not ask the engine? But this should be clearly winning for black, this position here. I just won against Stockfish, yoo-hoo! Wait, Ansicht, engine, mate and 9. Okay, well, thanks for watching and see you next time. Ciao.